So I'd actually given up on making this video. Yeah, naked child in the background made it really unpostable. Anyways, yeah, it's funny when messages come to you, eh? I was literally like doing the dishes, and it just kind of hit me. There's something that I really want people to hear, and it comes down to your own personal journey. And I don't know where you're at in your healing journey or if you're on a spiritual journey, but we reach a point that before we are healed, where we're kind of like stuck in this limbo and you aren't really sure what you should do, right? And people tend to take advantage of that, especially if in the past you were submissive and easily swayed this way and that way because it was easier for you to just go with what other people wanted versus standing up for what you wanted, right? Keep the peace. I mean, it's part of that. There's a great book out there. It's called Guilt and Shame or whatever. It's Master of Disguise. I'll post a link down below to it. But it was something my therapist gave me. And as we go through our trauma cycles and release our stories, it's really interesting to note that we always repeat patterns, okay, constantly. And every trauma family, has that pattern of there's always an abuser, there's always a victim, and there's always a peacekeeper. And sometimes you play all those roles at different periods of time. Sometimes you play more than one role at the same time. So the problem with that, though, is it's a comfort thing. You keep looking for opportunities to play those roles. And depending on whether you're the peacekeeper or the victim or the abuser, what you are attracted to doing the most of, it can put you in a situation where I think a lot of us who come from severe childhood abuse, where we still kind of play the peacekeeper role, even after we're done, and we're trying to be assertive, we're trying to set boundaries, but we still want to keep the peace. We don't want to see people unhappy, especially if when we're coming out of this trauma cycle and we've decided to stick up for ourselves and make changes, people sometimes will force their help on you, like, oh, well, this is what you should do. And because you're not at a place where you can be assertive yet, they kind of walk all over you and push you this way and push you that way. And you let them because it's just, again, easier to go with the flow. But then afterwards, when you finally come out of your healing journey and you let go of your story and you have this new sense of power and strength and self-awareness, and people start getting fucking mad at you. Because, well, didn't I help you? Didn't I give you all this effort? Didn't I do this for you? Didn't I do that for you? And they can make you feel really fucking shitty for all the help they gave you that you never asked for, that maybe you didn't even fucking want. And that makes it really fucking hard, because it can trigger you to the point where you feel like, oh, well, they did help me, but I'm going to tell you right now, they're guilting you. Okay, that's a form of manipulation. And if anyone offers you help and then expects something back for it, whether it's a change in your behavior or some form of gratitude in the way they think you should be grateful to them for, that's not what you need. Okay, that shit's not healthy. And it's another form of abuse, in my opinion, because we're back to the shame, blame game. Yeah, don't let people do that to you. So if you're coming out of a traumatic situation, or you're finally at a point where you've just had fucking enough and you're beginning to heal and you want to go down the healing journey, you might have to consider cutting ties with a lot more people than you expect, even if it's just temporary, because a lot of people will take advantage of you when you're on your lows. And when you don't have the strength to speak up, they're going to be like, hey, this is what you should be doing right now. I mean, I had a point where, like, because I was so submissive and because I was such a quiet child and because I was so easy to convince to do this or that just to make people happy, because I was constantly trying to make everyone feel okay. That was like my thing. I wanted everyone to feel okay. No matter what it cost me, I wanted everyone to feel okay. Yeah, stop that shit. Because that's going to stop you from healing. And they are doing a really fucking shitty thing. Everyone has their own karmic debt, okay? And if they helped you out of guilt because they didn't help you when they should have helped you the first time, or maybe they knew that you were struggling and they made a lot of selfish, shitty choices in the past and they should have been there for you and they weren't, that's not your fault. Nor is it your responsibility to accommodate their guilty fucking conscience. So I really want to encourage people, anybody out there who's on a healing journey, if you've reached a point where you feel like you're stuck because people are like, hey man, well, don't you appreciate all I've done for you? Stick it. Yeah, I appreciate all you've done for me. But did I ask you to do it? Like, I didn't realize I was accumulating a tab, man. Like, fuck. So just, yeah, you don't have to be nice to people, okay? Being nice is not the same as being kind. And you're allowed to set your boundaries, okay? Because no one's going to do it for you. No one's going to say, hey, don't talk to her like that. Unless you say it first, okay? People treat you the way you let them treat you. And that's the truth. But if you go down a spiritual journey, you're going to find that you naturally will reach a point where you're give a fucks for how other people feel when they're trying to take advantage of you or use you to make themselves feel emotionally elevated. You're not going to care because that's not about you. That's their problem. It's not a you problem. It's a them problem. Right? It's so true, though. Anyways, I'll put a link down below for the book. It's a really great book if you are at a point where you're trying to do some healing and you're struggling with understanding these roles that a lot of families repeat over and over and over again. And then, of course, until we let go of our stories as adults, we tend to find places to repeat them ourselves over and over and over again. So, yeah, it can happen. But, yeah, don't ever let someone make you feel shitty for setting a boundary or for saying, look, I didn't ask for your help. I'm sorry you gave it to me and now I feel bad for doing it. How is that my fucking problem? Anyways, I hope this helps somebody because it felt really important for me to share this today. We are not responsible for how other people feel. We are not responsible for how other people perceive their actions and their amount of, what do you want to call it? Not quality, that's not the right word, but their amount of importance in our lives. Some people will think they're really fucking important in our lives, and they're going to give themselves a lot of fucking credit that maybe they don't fucking deserve. Just saying. I mean, where were they when you were getting beat as a kid? Where were they when you are at home alone with like 500 things to do and nobody's helping you and you feel like you just want to lay down and cry all night? Where were they? Like, they're not there. Right? So, yeah, you owe them nothing. You owe yourself everything. So, get your own back. Tell them to piss off. Anyways, I love you guys. I hope you have a great night.